call yesterday. I've been working in this territory for 5 years. Did I cold call yesterday?
Yes.
Yeah. I see a business that I think is that I need to introduce myself to. I will cold call. You got to cold call every day. If you don't cold call, guys, it's like a nurse that keeps on drawing blood out of the same vein. Well, that vein eventually dry out. Absolutely. So you can only get so many referrals out of the network. So you got to always be cold calling a little bit.
I'm sorry.
What?
How are you doing?
Drop your mail off.
We've been waiting for you.
Thank
Do you have anything going out?
No.
Thank you.
So there's a couple things with referrals and where people screw up because I was sitting in this last interview and they said, oh yeah, all these companies say referrals this, referrals that. The reason that people have struggled, if you struggle getting referrals, it's because when do you ask for referrals?
Wow.
Okay, so here's the first thing I want you guys to take notes on. This is so important. If you bring up referrals last, you have already lost. You have to bring referrals up first. And it's called priming the pump. And there's all the way through the sales presentation. Now, as you guys are learning the sales presentation, now we're going to ask you to implement a couple of parts. So the first place that I bring up referrals is immediately when I'm sitting down with you, sir. Okay, I talk about who I've already talked to and where I'm going next. Okay, so I was sitting down with Tim Jamerson yesterday. I said, man, I love what I do. I've met so many good families. In fact, I sat down with Ryan Moore. He's got that big watermelon company, and he had asked me to catch up with his dad, Marty, and he said John Bibbs is like, I guess he must have graduated high school with him. But I love what I do because I just work off of referrals. So I say this before I even open up my book. So where I've been and where I'm going and who referred me where. That's the first place to start priming the pump. Because when I tell them that I love what I do, I primarily work off of referrals. I go to really good, hardworking families that have a lot to lose. That's even before I open up the book. What does that psychologically do to somebody when I'm sitting down with them before I'm even showing them the product?
Somebody else gave you the time that they know, so they're more willing.
What do you suppose starts running through their head?
When you're talking about referrals, or somebody refers them to you,
right?
Yeah.
If you prime the pump, and you'll know when you prime the pump, right? Because you will get referrals before you even open up your book. Oh, you know who you should talk to? Hey, have you talked to this person yet? At that point, I know I've already won. What's more important, me getting a sale or me getting referrals? If you adopt that mentality, you will never starve in this business. I would give up all those sales that I just got there. Actually, I wouldn't anymore because I got too many referrals. I don't know what to do with them. But I would give up. I
was just doing the same thing. I was like, you give me.
But referrals are the key to this business, and this is what you really want to master. I'm just telling you. So first place I prime the pump is I'm sitting down with you, and the way that I build rapport is actually where I've been, who I got referred to. Oh yeah, you know them. How do you know them? And I can find commonalities based off of that. Now St. Louis is a big little city. Would you guys agree with that? And everybody somehow knows everybody's gossip here in town or where they do business or so. How do you know them? Well, I go to church here. Oh, really? That's a pretty big church. How many people go to church there? I mean, you'll learn how to build rapport based off of referrals, but you want to bring it up before you even open the books. Okay, that's the first place to prime the pump. Any questions about that?
No.
Second thing that I do is I actually pull out a referral packet. Just like I do with my apps, right? So I go, yeah, I get referrals from everybody. You know, in fact, I'll challenge you to come up with 5 people that I haven't already been referred to. I'll say that before I even open up my book. Now, even just pulling out this referral packet, what does that do?
Shows them that that it's true, like what you said, that
Right.
Validates what you're saying.
Exactly. What most salespeople are, the reason the word sales has such negative connotations, they think that salespeople lie, right? If you catch yourself saying any sort of lie or something that you don't really know, trust me, they will get it. They will understand it 100%. They'll see straight through you. So everything I say, I can validate. Okay? So prime the pump before you even open up the book. Any questions about that? Okay, second place that I prime the pump. So we're talking and we're building rapport. It's interesting. If I've already found somebody that they know that I know, I'm going to use that name a whole lot. I'm going to use the name in the presentation because that will loosen them up. That's what makes them more comfortable. But then I get to the point here where I go, yeah, it's called Cancer Care Plus, blah, blah, blah. It pays benefits directly to you. It pays in addition to everything else you have. The one thing that sets us apart from all other companies, like my wife and I have had this for 4 years, 6 years. If we don't use it, we literally get all of our money back. And the way that we do that is we don't advertise the way that Aflac does. They spend $4.3 billion advertising every year. Or have you ever heard of this jingle? What's that? We are farmers. So just have fun. I'll bet you guys can get 5 people to finish the jingle every day, right? In my demo, if they finish the jingle, it means they're probably pretty comfortable with me. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And so what we do, actually, I just work at the last thing that I say, I just work a really, really tight-knit referral-based business. I get referrals from everybody, and so we don't have to advertise. So second place I brought up, referrals. Follow me? Now, the third place that I bring up referrals, priming the pump, I think might even be in my buying atmosphere. I go, this is super simple. It's affordable, easy decision. Hardest part, my job is just catching up with everybody. I literally have like 400 families that I need to catch up with, and I'll do my best whoever you ask me to go see, I'll do my best to get to them, but it might take me a little while. Hardest part is just catching people because everyone's busy, but what everybody's been able to do for me. So now what I'm doing is I'm actually validating that my time is busy. I'm not like this desperate salesperson that's going to keep on creeping around. Hey, have you thought about it? How about now? And the thing is, would you guys agree that the more referrals you get, the less desperate you are,
Yeah.
right? So I use my referrals to actually help them understand my buying atmosphere is, hey, if this is right for you, what everybody's been able to do for me is give me a thumbs up. If it's not, it's okay. Tell me no. I'll cross you off. I'll catch up with my next referral. So again, I've primed the pump 3 times with referrals, right? When people don't get referrals, it's because they're not priming the pump, period. If somebody goes, man, I'm just not getting any referrals, that's the deal right there, okay? So then when you actually get referrals, we're going at the end of paperwork, or even if they say no, what most people are, if you hear no, if you get all the way through a demo, what do you think the biggest objection you're going to get is that you at first are not going to be able to overcome?
Money.
Nope.
Think about it.
Mm-hmm. It's always going to be procrastination because that's the hardest one to skirt around. Now, Joe Cuny teaches an extremely powerful part on how to get past that and get them to admit that it's money. Like you get them to admit that it's money, then but Joe Cuny will teach that part to y'all. But it's hard. You get this procrastination. Well, we just need to think about it. The time's not right, or can you come back? And when I finally, in my heart of hearts, have decided that I'm going to let them off the hook after I've closed the second time, the third time, after I've used rebuttal, after I've done the crystal ball and all that sort of stuff. You guys have studied that already? Mm-hmm. So after I've done that, and after I go, hey, let me show you the travel, and I totally let them off the hook, this is how I get referrals from people who don't want to buy. They go, can you come back? And I'm like, can we think about it? And I'm like, sure. Or the time's not right. I go, sure. Let me ask you, James, how long do you want before I come back to see you?
2 days.
Awesome. 2 days. Now, what are most people going to say? Usually, they're going to go, I don't know, like 6 months. I'm like, cool. James Brown, and I'll just write, I'll come back and see you in 6 months. And now I can get referrals from you. You guys follow me there? Some people think you can only get referrals from people who buy. But I'm going to let James off the hook. We already like each other, and I'm actually going to be okay that he told me 6 months. Do you really think I'm going to go back and see him 6 months from now? Not unless I'm referred back to him. If I'm referred back to him, and if he's a good person, you will get in those referral circles. So now I've got my referrals out. I put James Brown. The first, and this is the second most important. So prime the pump, number 1. Number 2, the second most important part of referrals is getting the first name. And the first name that I get is not, I don't ask, hey, who should I go see? Who do you think the first 2 or 3 names I'm going to write down are? Well, throughout my demo, do you suppose they've talked about people that are close to them in the demo? They've talked about hobbies. In fact, I might have even asked James, who's a close person, my dad. Oh, cool. That sucks. He's still with us. Cool. Was it just you helping take care of him? No, I've got brothers and sisters, and it was real taxing on the entire family. So you got to understand, I'm getting my first 3 or 4 referrals from the demo, and I'm not going to ask for permission to put their name down. But those are my hottest referrals because they just lived through what James lived through, right? Cancer has dramatically affected him. So James, you said you have some brothers and sisters. So this is exactly how I go. James, you want me to come back and see you in 6 months? Awesome. Hey, you said you had some siblings. What's your brother's name?
John.
John. Okay. And your sister's name?
Becky.
Becky. Any other siblings?
Joey.
Joey. Okay. Awesome. And you said too, you ride motorcycle. Who's your motorcycle buddy that rides right next to you?
It's Joseph.
Joseph. Hey, and when I was walking in here, the business right next to you, I don't imagine you ever run over and grab a coffee from him, do you?
Oh, from Bob, yeah.
Yeah, Bob. Okay. Cool. Now I got my first 5 without even asking what referrals are. You follow me? Now I go, I love what I do because I just work a tight-knit referral-based business. And everybody gives me, anywhere from 5 to 10. But if I only had enough time to catch up with 5, who are the first 5 people that definitely need to hear about this? Like, who are some people? And you'll notice on the bottom of your referral sheet, it's called memory joggers right here. So I shut up at that point because this is my 4th ask. And I go, who are 5 people that I absolutely need to catch up with, or people that own their own business that I need to go see? Who's the first one?
Susie.
Okay. Next.
And I think Jessica.
Okay.
And Josh.
Who else?
Connor.
Go on.
And Sarah Kay.
And?
Sherry.
3. Okay. Now, if he only gets to 3, I'm okay. I don't freak out. Third point of getting referrals is layer referrals. Now, he's only giving me first names, right? That's really how I get referrals. Because once their name's on this piece of paper, now I can start layering. You follow where I go with layering. So, okay, you said your brother's name's Bobby. What's his last name?
Brown.
Brown. Bobby Brown. And then your other brother is going to be Brown. And what's your sister's last name?
Smith.
Smith. Okay. And then the coffee guy, what's his last name?
Coffee.
Coffee. And so now I get the last names. Now I'm layering. And I go, so this is your brother. You always going to get coffee. How do you know so-and-so? And how do you know this person? 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 When I get to address, this is important. When I get to address, my question that I'm going to ask is, where does so I don't go to address. I go, so where does your brother work?
Boeing.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I get their employers. Now I'm going to go back to the employer, and I'm going to go, do you think it's possible for me to walk in and ever meet your brother at work, or would I have to catch him at home?
At home.
Would never catch him at work. So home. How about your other brother?
McDonald's, probably can catch him there.
Okay. And how about this one?
At home.
At home. And this one?
Home.
This one? Now all of a sudden I'm starting to figure out who I can write during the day. You follow me? Okay, cool. If I was going to catch your brother at home, what town does he live in?
He usually gets back about 6.
And he lives in what city?
Oh, I'm sorry. He lives in St. Charles.
St. Charles. Next city. There's an app I want you guys all to download. It's White Pages. You should look yourself up on White Pages, and your address will pop right up on that bad boy. So if I know the city they live and where they work, there's a pretty good chance that I can chase that referral. Hey, real quick, grab your phone for me, James.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have you put my number in. That way when I call you in 6 months, you know who it is. Put me in as Cancer Nick.
Yeah.
Okay. But while you have your phone out, what's your brother's phone number? Now I'm layering to get phone numbers. Okay. Now, you can even go a step further with this. Hey, it might take me a little bit of time, but let me ask you, if I send you a text message that I've already pre-text, like if I send you a text message, can you forward that text message to your brother and to your sister? Can you send that text message that way? And that text message will say something like, hey, blah, 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 blah. I just sat down with the guy. we've got a set text message, but when that text message comes out, they're more apt to answer a phone call or just have kind of a heads up. Do I use that all the time? Not always, but sometimes I will. You know what I'm saying? I'll use that sometimes with existing clients. It just kind of depends. It depends. I want to see referrals face to face. My success rate's much higher, but I do want their phone number just in case I can't ever catch them. And then on a Sunday night or a Friday, I'm sitting here, I'm calling referrals to set up sawing appointments. That's a lot about referrals, and you probably should stop that, but